Greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every weekend, same time, same station. If you're here now, you know how to find us again. But if you don't know how to find us, or you don't know somebody else who can find us, and you think they may want to, please tell your friends, family, relatives, anybody you think that would like to have better health. And anyone can have better health. Absolutely. And it's not by drugs. Now, drugs can save lives. There's a place for drugs. Drugs can actually save lives. If you've had a serious injury, if you've been run over by a car, vitamins and food is not going to help you. You need drugs. You need doctors. You may need surgery. You need all the medical treatments that can help you live a longer life and save your life. But they can't make you healthy. The really only thing that can make you healthy is your diet. If you have a healthy diet, one that drastically lowers carbohydrates and sugar, increases the animal proteins, that has the best ratio of amino acids, that makes your body. Our body is made up of protein. You squeeze out all the other water and everything else in the body, and you end up with protein. The body needs the essential amino acids that come from protein. That rebuilds our body, rebuilds our health, and essential fatty acids. There are no essential carbohydrates, no essential sugar. And back as far as 1963, every individual was consuming as much sugar in 2 weeks as they did in a year. So that's how it has got to the point today. From 1963 till now, we probably have double that amount of sugar. So the diet today, in fact, 70% of the diet of Americans is ultra-processed foods, man-made foods. White flour, white sugar, seed oil, flavoring, chemicals, preservatives, whatever. And you find them all in the center of your supermarket, all the aisles. Prepackaged foods, boxed foods, canned foods. Those are not natural foods particularly. It's some canned foods, yes. You can buy beans, you can buy vegetables in cans, you can buy fruit in cans, but they're not as healthy as buying fresh. So you want to shop the perimeter of the supermarket. You want a healthy diet. We are unhealthy because of the foods that we are eating today. But that's our choice. You and I make a choice of what we want to eat. And you can eat junk. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. But because of research and scientists proving that we can actually improve mental disease and physical diseases by changing our diet, by eating a different kind of diet that is healthy. Get rid of the junk foods. Get rid of the refined carbohydrates. Get rid of the white flour, the white sugar, the seed oil. They're all inflammatory. They cause more inflammation. But yet we still eat those foods because that's your choice. If you want that, your choice. And then we buy pills to reduce inflammation. Duh, that does not make sense to me. So we can change our lives. I've seen it all the time. People give me their stories and how they have changed their diet, changed their lifestyle choices, got more active, more movement in their life, better quality of sleep, better diet. Diet is the best medicine in the world. We would not have the diseases that we have today if we were not eating the sugar and the refined carbohydrates that easily convert to sugar in the body. When we have a high blood sugar level, which eventually creates a high insulin level, a very powerful hormone that produces fat, stores fat, causes high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain kinds of cancer, all based on what we eat. I guess it comes down to we eat our diseases. By that I mean whatever we eat, if we're not eating a healthy diet, we are creating our own diseases. You can't put a fuel in your car that wasn't created a fuel for the car. If your car runs on gas, you can't put something else in it. But we are trying to do that in our diet. Sugar has no nutritional value. There's no vitamins and minerals. And all the refined carbohydrates, the flour, the white flour, and all the grains that will eventually, even though that they're complex carbohydrates, they still eventually have to be converted to sugar to be metabolized in the body for energy. But we are eating all that constantly. The American diet is made up of carbohydrates and sugar. That does not create a healthy body. If you want health, you've got to work at it. I'm sorry. You may not want to work that hard. You have to have some discipline. You have to sacrifice not eating the junk food that you like, that you get pleasure out of, that you love the taste of it, that you're addicted to, and you can't give it up. But what do you want? Do you want health? Do you want to live a longer life, but a high quality of life? I don't want to live a long life if I can't live a quality of life. I want a quality of life. I want to be active. I want to travel. I want to be able to take care of my grandkids and have fun and enjoy life. But that only comes when you have a quality of life. If you got to take a half a dozen drugs to feel halfway decent, that's not a quality of life. But that's a very common occurrence in America. Eat junk. Eat a lot of refined carbohydrates. Eat sugar. Eat a lot of desserts. A lot of things that you just get pleasure out of, but no nutritional value. And then you end up with aches and pains and arthritis and cancer and all the things that may happen to you. That's not a quality of life. But you can change that by changing your diet. And the primary diet I recommend is a low-carb diet. Far less than we are eating today. We're eating 300 to 400 grams of carbohydrates a day for Americans. And we should be down less than 100, probably less than 75. I've seen some good research on 50 milligrams to 75 milligrams of carbohydrates daily can make a huge difference in your life. No more than that. Now, if you are really sick, if you're really mentally disturbed, if you have depression, anxiety, even some of the more serious mental diseases have been reversed. Yes, reversed, prevented, and cured in many incidences. And then the carbohydrates are down to 0 to 20 milligrams per day. Grams per day. But that's all up to you and I. What kind of life do you want to live? I'm not telling you how to live your life. You can live the life the way you want, but what do you want? You can't be healthy and eat junk. But that's what Americans are doing today. 50% of Americans today are obese. That means grossly overweight. And that starts all the diseases that are being treated today by drugs. We could eliminate all the drugs that we're taking today, or at least minimize them. But for a couple of facts, some people just don't want to do it. Some don't know they can do it. But if you know you can do it, and you prove it to yourself, you don't want to stop. But it might take you 2 or 3 weeks to get accustomed to change. Don't be afraid of change. You don't know what rewards are on the other side of change. Change your life. Make changes in your lifestyle choices. Don't be afraid. You're going to feel so much better, and you'll be off all of your drugs, or more than half your drugs. You'll cut them way down. Now, I'm not telling you to do that on your own. You should also talk to your doctor. If you're on drugs, there may be a need for those drugs, and I'm not in a position to tell you what drugs you're taking or which ones are necessary, but I'm telling you that if you're taking high blood pressure medication, taking drugs for inflammation, you're taking drugs for pain, you can get off all those drugs by just changing your diet. And that's all I'm trying to do, is to make you aware of the fact that you can live a better quality of life for the rest of your life. So that's my soapbox message for the day. That's all my opinion, but it works. Folks, you try those changes, and you're going to be amazed at the results that you get. But today we're going to talk about how to prevent and treat ulcers and acid reflux with DGL. 3 letters, DGL. We're going to make some big changes. Yes, and you can prevent cancer just by changing your diet. You can prevent cancer and get rid of all the chemicals. Hopefully that'll happen soon. And it's better for us to eat in the morning than to fill up at night. We'll talk about a new, I shouldn't say new, but it might be new to your ears, called alpha-lipoic acid. Sounds almost dangerous. Alpha-lipoic acid. And GLP-1 causes constipation. What are you going to do about constipation when you're continually taking a drug that causes constipation? And why should we have strong leg muscles? There are some really great benefits to strengthening our leg muscles. And we can turn off the inflammation just by giving up sugar and carbohydrates and seed oils, because those 3, maybe along with stress, cause our bodies to be inflamed. How do we put out the inflammation? First, choose better foods. Choose anti-inflammatory foods. Choose an anti-inflammatory diet. And give up the foods that are known to cause inflammation. Many people eat foods that are causing inflammation in their body. They may not know it, but that's why you're here, so you know it. Because there are foods that cause your body to be inflamed. And then you have other diseases because of the inflammation. And you're trying to put out the inflammation. So you buy pills to put out the inflammation. You buy drugs to put out the inflammation. Or your doctor even goes up to more powerful drugs to put out the inflammation. And a lot of conditions that are like rheumatoid arthritis that cause inflammation. They even prescribe methotrexate. Why don't you try and change your diet and stop eating foods that cause inflammation? You can do it. You can turn off the inflammation if you want to. And then, if we have time, we'll talk about why kids are anxious, why they suffer from anxiety, and what we can do about helping them live a calmer, healthier life. So, what is DGL? Deglycerinated licorice. The herb licorice, not candy. There's also an herb known as licorice. Glycyrrhizin is a naturally occurring compound that is found in the herb, the plant, not the candy, which a lot of Americans eat and are addicted to. DGL provides health benefits when taken at high dosages for periods of time, but it is a very high dosage. Many people caution you, or you may read in a book, that licorice can cause high blood pressure. That's right. It can cause high blood pressure. But it can only increase blood pressure if you consume a very high level of licorice, both candy and herb, like 5 grams of licorice. And as a natural medicine for intestinal issues, glycyrrhizin is removed from licorice. So this form of D-glycyrrhetinic acid is called DGL. Very, very safe. DGL might even stand for darn good licorice. A very specific licorice extract that has had the DGL removed and then is standardized. That means each capsule has the same amount of the bioflavonoids or the flavonoids that have been shown in multiple clinical trials to reduce acid reflux. Much, much safer than drugs. And you know, the drugs that are prescribed for reducing acid reflux is only supposed to be used temporarily, no more than 6 months. And I've run into people that have been on the drug for 10 years, 15 years. And this DGL can stop the growth of the bacteria H. pylori. So here are some research studies that you might want to be aware of. Everything I always talk about, but you know, in the beginning of my program, I was on my soapbox. That was my non-scripted, open, transparent, why I believe we can all have better health. But now this is the clinical trial. 60 days of use of 150 milligrams daily of DGL extract eliminated the H. pylori infection by 56% of the participants, while only 2 patients in the placebo group tested negative on day 60. H. pylori is linked to gastrointestinal ulcers, gastric cancer, and increased risk of IBD. 23 participants out of 25 with ongoing digestive issues, belching, bloating, heartburn, indigestion, showed moderate or significant improvement in symptoms after just 30 days of DGL versus 11 people with moderate improvement only in the placebo group. I had a woman tell me one day, Terry, I went to the doctor for several years trying to heal my ulcer. Never got any results. Mild improvement at the most. And somewhere someone told me or I read about DGL. I kind of laughed about it. I've taken all the drugs you could take for my ulcer, and nothing worked. How would a plant, licorice, have any improvement? Terry, I took DGL, and 2 weeks later, I had no more symptoms of ulceration. So now what you should know about DGL. So when you're out shopping, what are you going to look for? You're going to look for a supplement that contains 75 milligrams of DGL per capsule. Now that capsule is exactly every capsule of a product that is standardized. That means the active material, the active component in DGL or any herb, when it's standardized, that means it's exactly the same every capsule. So look for one that is containing 75 milligrams of DGL, standardized to a minimum of 10% flavonoids. The flavonoids are the active biologically compounds most active against H. pylori infection. Now you do that twice a day. 75 milligrams of DGL twice daily. It is not necessary to look for a chewable tablet because all the clinical studies showing benefits for indigestion and for digestion use 75 milligram capsules standardized to 10 milligrams of the flavonoids twice a day, one in the morning and one at night. It's a remarkable natural compound, biologically active, and more effective than drugs. Ulcers are hard to treat. Ulcers are hard to cure. DGL can do it sometimes in a few weeks. Now, yes, you can prevent cancer. No, we are looking for a cure for cancer. We're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars to look for a cure for this disease. But many of the things that we do cause cancer. We know smoking causes cancer. And obesity causes cancer. Smoking and obesity are the two most prevalent activities that we can choose to do or choose not to do that cause cancer. So we can make some huge changes. Now, if we have the ability to prevent cancer, why are we waiting for a cure? And 70% of all cancer is caused by smoking and obesity. 70%. So we can make changes. So cancer prevention is definitely possible. One of the most prestigious studies and the largest studies of its kind. Oh, I better hold this. Clock on the wall is ticking down to time for some commercials. And I don't want you to miss this. These are extremely valuable for you to understand. Cancer is not something unknown. It's not something that happens to people because they're unlucky or because God don't love them or they're unfortunate, they're unlucky, it's the roll of the dice. We can make our bodies more susceptible to cancer by doing certain things. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. And I don't want to break into this. This is way, way, way too more important. But I'll be back. This is Terry Naturally. The show is Terry Talks Nutrition. And you can go to my website and learn more to terrytalksnutrition.com. I'll come back right after this, right here on Terry Talks Nutrition. And welcome back, my friends. We're back here on Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. And we're talking about a variety of topics that will help you have a better quality of life, but also make sure that you take the opportunity, make the sacrifice, do the discipline to change your lifestyle choices. Choose a healthy diet. Get more active. Get involved with more exercise. You can do a lot to make yourself healthier. You can make yourself more healthy than your doctor can or any other drug. But we're talking about cancer prevention. It is very, very possible. And even curing cancer is better when you make these ideas more pliable in your diet, pliable in your lifestyle, and you take the responsibility of making choices. Now, I was starting to tell you about one of the largest studies of its kind. Researchers actually analyzed the data from 36 different cancers across 185 countries. That's a huge, huge uptaking. And the results of over 18 million new cancer cases in 2022, almost 40%. Listen to this. Almost 40% were preventable with lifestyle changes, lifestyle choices. That means you can control whether you reduce the risk of cancer or you increase the risk of cancer. So you have choices. You aren't just going through life and all of a sudden cancer causes, or you have a diagnosis of cancer. Now, the biggest modifiable risk factor, the biggest, smoking. The biggest modifiable risk factor. Stop today. Now, that risk factor is followed by alcohol, obesity, and a very sedentary lifestyle. In this study, lung, cervical, and stomach cancers were the most preventable types of cancer. And lung is the number one cancer today. It's preventable. Several cancers are preventable. You can reduce the risk of being diagnosed with cancer by making some of these lifestyle choices. So how do you reduce the risk of cancer? Okay? Don't smoke. That's your choice. My father died of cancer, bone cancer. The most horrible form of cancer. He was bedridden for 3 years, could not move. My mother and I would slide the sheets out from under him. We could not touch him or raise him up, or he could not help us at all. We'd have to slide the sheets out from under him inch by inch, because every time you touched him, his bones would break. And he would cry out in agony. But he smoked. Not while he was bedridden, but previous to that. He died at 55. He smoked starting at the age of 11, non-filtered Camel cigarettes, 3 packs a day. Now, a lot more goes into my mother. She was 98 when she died, did not smoke, did not drink alcohol. Oh, once in a while, she'd have a glass of wine. My father smoked. My father drank. His diet was horrible. He had cancer. My mother did not have cancer. She lived to be 98, in very good health, very good shape. She had all her own teeth. She was very, very healthy. Now, we can avoid excessive alcohol. And when I say excessive alcohol, that's a lot. If you want to have a drink, a glass of wine, fine. But not every day. And then maintain a healthy weight. And then start eating foods that are high in polyphenols, like olive oil, spices, berries, nuts, and occasionally red wine. Not white, red wine. Because studies have shown that by changing your diet that would supply lots of polyphenols, it would reduce the risk of liver, colon cancer, lung and breast cancer, and prostate cancer, as well as overall cancer risk, and also risk of other diseases as well. The risk of diabetes. There really truly is no disease called diabetes type 2. Yes, the doctor will see you have a lot of sugar in your blood. But that's not a disease. Well, I guess you could call it sugar disease. You have too much sugar in your bloodstream. Well, where do you think it came from? It didn't come from your neighbor. It didn't come from wherever you're working. It came from how much sugar you're putting in your body. Stop putting the sugar in your body. And your doctor will not be able to find a high blood sugar level. Also, it increases the risk of heart disease and dementia and Alzheimer's disease. If getting dietary polyphenols is a challenge, then you also can take a supplement. If you're not eating the right foods, you could at least take a supplement that supplies polyphenols. And here are some herbs that have a very high concentration of polyphenols. Curcumin. In fact, curcumin is a polyphenol by itself. Olive oil, olive leaf oil, or olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. And the spicier the olive oil tastes, that is the highest concentration of polyphenols. If you get a bit of a burn in the back of your throat, or a little peppery taste in the back of your throat, or you kind of cough a little bit after you take your couple of tablespoons of olive oil, that's because you're tasting the polyphenols. Then also grapeseed extract, a very high concentration of OPCs. These are polyphenols. Apple and green tea all provide proven levels and activities of polyphenols. So you can lower the risk of cancer, of many kinds of cancer. It isn't just all up to luck or bad fortune. We can eat more foods that cause cancer, or we can avoid those foods that cause cancer. Many foods that are high in polyphenols, that as already mentioned, like olive oil, spices, berries, nuts, red wine. These all contain the polyphenols that are proven to be effective against cancer, or to lower your risk of cancer. Now, why should you eat in the morning? Well, shouldn't we eat all day? I think some people do eat all day. And not at night. Your body needs a break. Allowing time between eating allows your body to takes care of its housekeeping that it can't do when it is forced to process a constant intake of food. That's why many people today are fasting. Fasting helps the body heal faster and better. We constantly eat all the time. And we eat 3 big meals a day or 4 meals a day. And multiple research studies have shown that fasting overnight, probably a time of 8 to 12 hours, has tremendous benefits in linking to burning more stored fat instead of glucose for energy, which promotes weight loss, linked to growth of beneficial gut bacteria. They have a time to survive and multiply. Better sleep quality, reduce inflammation, and repairing the cellular structure of our body. How do we do this? Well, try to stop eating 3 hours before bedtime. Some people get up from the table at dinner, or some call it supper, and then they continue to eat until they go to bed. It's nonstop. They get up from the table and they're looking for something to eat. So if you stop 3 hours before bedtime and get at least 8 hours of sleep every night, this will give your body time to rest and reset. This is extremely important for a healthy way to let the body heal. Fasting. Another way to do it is have dinner on Monday night or any night, and then do not have dinner or eat until the dinner the next day. So you've gone 24 hours, but you've only missed 2 meals. And your body will reset and thank you for it. Now, are you familiar with alpha lipoic acid? It's a very powerful nutrient that we should be taking on a daily basis. Alpha lipoic acid is one of the most powerful antioxidants and almost are either water soluble or fat soluble. And they are either water soluble or fat soluble. That means they function in the watery areas of the body, like blood or inside the cells, or they're fat soluble. And they function in fatty tissues like the cell membranes, and in particles of cholesterol to keep them from going rancid. And alpha lipoic acid is the universal antioxidant because it is both fat and water soluble. It is active in every part of the body, and it can even cross the blood-brain barrier to go into the brain to protect the brain tissue. It can also recharge other antioxidants to restore them to full power. Now, what makes alpha lipoic acid so valuable? Well, in Germany, alpha lipoic acid is regularly used to treat diabetic neuropathy. That means nerve damage associated with high blood sugar levels. Your nerves become inflamed from the sugar. And alpha lipoic acid increases blood circulation in the tiny vessels around the nerves to bring them more oxygen and nutrients that they require. Alpha lipoic acid can increase nerve regeneration and promote nerve healing. In clinical trials, alpha lipoic acid reduced nerve tingling, burning, pain, numbness associated with diabetic neuropathy. I've seen some people that they can barely walk, and they shuffle their feet because their feet are so numb they don't feel them. So they're afraid to take a step, so they shuffle. And after they've taken a mixture of nutrients, including alpha lipoic acid, within 2 to 4 weeks, they're ready to dance. It also lowered blood sugar levels by restoring insulin sensitivity. So the best way to use lipoic acid is at least 600 milligrams daily. That was used in the clinical studies. 600 milligrams daily. This was studies done in Germany. Taken in combination with other nutrients that support nerve function and reduce blood sugar levels. Naturally, all the B vitamins, including vitamin B1 in a fat-soluble form, because all B vitamins are water-soluble. So B1, called benfotiamine, is a fat-soluble form of B1, and then folate, or folic acid, zinc, chromium, boswellia. These are all for healing the nervous system and reducing numbness, tingling, and pain. And for additional support, you may want to add an herb called Hintonia. Hintonia reduces blood sugar levels and A1C. Hintonia, H like Harry, I-N-T like Tom, O-N like Nancy, I-A, Hintonia. And for reducing nerve pain, you can add P, 3 letters, P-E-A, not green peas, but a pea supplement. It's probably about a 21, 25 letter word that I'm not going to be able to pronounce. No way. So I'm so happy that everybody likes to say, hey, it's P. Use P. P-E-A. Use P, Hintonia, and alpha lipoic acid. Now, GLP-1 causes all kinds of side effects. I don't know about all the side effects. I have not seen anybody with blindness, but they say it causes blindness. It causes a saggy butt, causes saggy face. And of course, once you quit it, all the weight comes back. So you're going to be on the drug forever if you want to be reduced in weight the easy way. Do it the way I say, and mine is a more disciplined and sacrificing, changing your diet. I can help you lose weight, no matter how much weight you can't lose. You say, I can't lose weight. I've tried. You're trying the wrong way. Try the right way, and you will lose weight naturally and feel better. But GLP-1 causes constipation. And this is a very common experience on those people that are taking Ozempic. Because HLP-1 slows digestion. For some people, food moves so slowly through the digestive tract it causes constipation, cramping, bloating, nausea. But that's why the drug works, because it slows everything down so you're not hungry. But you have all kinds of side effects. You can't go on against nature and not have some side effects. Impossible. You got to follow the laws of nature. In extreme cases, actually the food can get stuck and causes blockages in your intestinal tract, causing an intestinal obstruction. It moves that slow. Food actually gets stuck. What kind of drug do you want to take? Oh my gosh. I don't take any drugs. And I don't intend to take any drugs. If I can't do it naturally, forget it. Because an intestinal obstruction is a medical emergency and may require surgical treatment. Why would you want to do that? Why risk that? You're paying for this. People on GLP-1 drugs have 3 to 4 times the risk of obstructions in the intestinal tract. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the natural cure for constipation. Randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial of 50 adults with gastrointestinal issues, primarily constipation. They took an herbal complex, 800 milligrams of an herbal complex combination of 14 Ayurvedic herbs, including Greater Galangia, Andrographis. All these herbs, 14 different herbs that have been used for over 2,000 years. Or they took a matching placebo for 14 days before bedtime with water. And the results of this study, 12% of the participants experienced more than 3 bowel movements a week. By the end of the study, the herbal group increased to 76% of participants having more than 3 bowel movements a week. No change in the placebo group. Take this combination with water at bedtime to support regular bowel movements. And I've also heard some good things about a product called Paleo Fiber. It's a plant fiber. Take 1 or 2 scoops in water or your protein drink or a smoothie, however, with liquid. It's been very, very effective for a lot of people. So there's ways to do it without resorting to drugs or using a more serious way to eliminate the constipation. Now, why do you need strong leg muscles? Well, new research on the importance of muscle strength. Building up your muscles has benefits for your heart, including leading to better outcomes after a heart attack. Remember, your heart is a muscle. Researchers analyzed the strength of the quadricep muscles, the front of your thighs, in almost 1,000 adults who had been hospitalized for a heart attack. The result, the risk of subsequent heart attacks, heart failure, was more than twice as likely for people with low muscle strength versus people with high muscle strength. In a previously published study, any kind of resistant training, muscle strengthening, was associated with a 21% reduction in the risk of death from heart disease. Simple exercises to build muscle strength. squats, kettlebell swings, and push-ups. If you did those three, even body weight squats, kettlebell swings, you can even do kettlebell squats and push-ups to strengthen your entire body, but your legs in particular. Your legs are your foundation. They get you off the toilet. They get you out of a chair. They get you up the steps. They get you down the steps safely. It depends on the muscles in your in your thighs and your legs. By doing squats, kettlebell swings, and for the upper body, push-ups. They're all excellent. You can do push-ups from your feet extended, or you can do it from your knees. Knee push-ups. They all will help you tremendously. And that, my friend, I'm going to run. Till next week, I'll be back here again. Come on back. I'd love to have you here. With that, say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. God bless you, my friends. And God bless this crazy world.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.